Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 17th January of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for this evening. Today we got only two stories for you guys and actually they're both sort of connected to crime and gaming. That doesn't happen very often and I'm not particularly pleased that I have to report about these things, but I am pleased that these things tend to get sorted out. So first of all, we're going to talk about a Twitch spammer who is now facing up to 10 years in prison for spamming on Twitch. And secondly, we're going to talk about arrests that are happening in China over the creation of cheat software. But let's begin with the Twitch spammer. Twitch spammer named Lucas Apple, a resident of British Columbia, is now facing up to 10 years in prison for two different charges. The first one is a British Columbia Supreme Court civil action and a criminal charge of mischief in relation of computer data. So essentially it has been found that Mr. Apple has been running a web service that was used to bomb, spam, flood, and do any other sort of nasty things in Twitch TV chats. The criminal charge, according to the Criminal Code of Canada, means that Mr. Apple could face up to 10 years in prison. Obviously, this is actually good. Whenever a person is doing something bad and he gets caught, it means that a portion of people who are doing the same bad thing will hopefully get disincentivized to do this. Essentially, he was spamming many channels with messages including things that were racist, homophobic, that will just pure sexual harassment. He imposed links to very shocking materials like gore. He also implicated some other people botting actually, and he even solicited child sex exploitation materials. In total, he managed to send over 150,000 messages to over 1,000 channels. That's a fucking huge amount of messages. On one hand, I'm impressed. I really am. Like, this takes some serious dedication to make these services run, to make them as effective as they were, apparently, and just to do it. This is some masterful trolling, but sadly, because it wasn't just pure fun trolling, he actually used things that were sort of harming to either children, that could include images that were not just allowed by content policies, and many other things. It is actually a good thing that he is now facing charges. I think 10 years for this is a bit ridiculous, especially when you compare it to the 3 years the person who got an innocent man killed in a recent swatting incident is just ridiculous. But that's not really to blame on this guy nor the guy from the United States. This is to blame on the different legal systems in both countries, where obviously Canada's punishments are just much more severe compared to the American ones. So this charge is pretty unprecedented, and it's pretty understandable that Twitch wants to protect their service, as now they are one of the largest streaming services in the world. They could even battle audiences of Netflix or perhaps even HBO and many other services. They really need to start thinking about how they appear to the outside world, whether we like it or not. Some people might claim that it is his right to send any sort of message he wants. Yes, I sort of agree. The problem is your rights end where the rights of others begin. And whenever you start including obviously illegal materials, like trying to get some sexually explicit materials from young girls, or you obviously fucked up, man. You just don't do that sort of shit because it's dumb and nobody ever should do it. right now we should remember one thing. We don't actually know if Mr. Apple has done this. It's still just a court. So don't ever go try to spam like his Twitter. Don't try to send him any emails, etc., etc. Wait until the court has made its resolution. If he is found guilty, then you can say that he was guilty. At this moment, it's all just an accusation. But our second piece of news will actually take us to things that are a bit more actually serious, I would say. So, most of people will know that Tencent has unsuccessfully tried to acquire PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, but he did manage to secure the rights to publish the game in China. And Tencent has actually been working with the Chinese government to go after people who develop cheating softwares, you know, like aimbots or wall hacks and these sort of things, because those things are illegal in China. And there was a recent crackdown on over 30 cases, which resulted in the arrest of over 120 people in that process. Not all of these people have been accused of creating such software. Some have been accused of advertising or selling this sort of software. And yeah, that's again a good thing. People who create softwares that blatantly just go against the EULAs or just general agreements you make as a player with the company when you install the game. And seriously guys, if you don't read documents, it's your own fault that you will get hindered because of it in life eventually. Maybe not by playing a game, but let's say if you're in the bank and you don't read the documents, well, prepare to get very much fucked. Right now, there are a lot of cheating softwares available on the market, and the vast majority of them actually do come from China. So I wouldn't say that this is the end of this sort of crackdown on these illegal activities. Maybe soon we will hear of another 100, maybe 200, maybe even more people being arrested in similar cases. And if they do, I actually hope that they will go to prison, or at the very least pay a pretty big fine. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Today I bought a new camera. I still need to buy new lights. Once I buy new lights, the quality should improve dramatically. I'm hoping to get them within 2, maybe 3 weeks. But we'll see how good my supplier is. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube, subscribing to our channel. If you are watching this on Steam, maybe you want to upvote our post and follow our blog, as we are your daily source of gaming news every single day. Be sure to leave a comment. Tell me what do you think of these arrests and of that accusation of Twitch spamming. Do you think 10 years would be a fair trial for somebody spamming? I certainly don't. I would guess something along the lines of actually 3 years of a maximum sentence would be fair, and 10 years for the person who got somebody killed. I would do the all switcheroo here. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. So see you later with more gaming content.